I recently got my hands on a new 3DS XL off Facebook Marketplace that was listed as for parts or repair. The original seller claimed that the 3DS would no longer turn on, but besides that, the 3DS is in amazing condition. There are little to no scratches and the 3DS still has a stylus. You don't really see that anymore with used DS systems. At first, I thought this would be an easy fix. Just pop a new battery in there and you're good to go, right? Well, if it was that easy, we wouldn't need such a long video. When I finally got the new battery, I put it in and powered it on. Everything seemed to be working like it should so far. Patting myself on the back, I went ahead and tried charging the system. Nothing. That's when I understood the problem. To me, the charging port looked good enough to work, but apparently that isn't good enough for this 3DS, so that's what I'm going to attempt to fix today. To start off, we'll need to unscrew this back plate. Underneath, the battery, SD card reader, and the other screws are revealed. Remove the screws around the system. Don't forget the ones underneath the rubber feet by the charging port. You could use a small flathead screwdriver or tweezers to get those out. After carefully disconnecting the shoulder button connectors, we are now greeted by this wonderful mess of ribbon cables and boards. All that we're after today is the charging port that you see right there. I've seen people remove the port without taking the entire board out, but I don't trust myself or my equipment enough to even attempt that, so let's get this motherboard out. First things first, disconnect everything. If it's connected to the motherboard, it's gotta go. These ribbon cables are connected in two different ways. Some are connected by these tabs here that you'll need to gently lift up and pull the cable out. And some are connected with these connectors that holds them down with pressure. These you just need to carefully pull out like so. Pretty straightforward, right? But the ribbon cable for the circle pad is actually folded in over itself. Once the circle pad is unscrewed and lifted up, the connector is revealed. With all the ribbon cables out of the way, it's time to unscrew the motherboard from the housing. When you're done unscrewing the motherboard, don't get too excited and yank it out. There are two ribbon cables underneath. After you disconnect those, then you can yank it out. Alright, now it's just me, the motherboard, and the charging port. My plan is to go in, solder the old one off, and solder the new one in. But you know how people say that some things are easier said than done? Well, this is where everything started to go wrong. My soldering iron and soldering wick was doing nothing to the motherboard no matter how hard I tried. I was going at it for a while too. Eventually I thought, man, this would be so much easier if I had flux. I didn't have any on me and I was too impatient to order some, so I looked up what I can use as an alternative and the internet pointed me to petroleum jelly. I tried it on the board and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, the internet was right, this is gonna work. So with the petroleum jelly in hand, I got back to work on the board and I even busted out my desoldering iron. With this amount of overkill, I should sure enough get this thing out with relative ease. Well, I did say relative ease. Okay, this isn't working. This is the part where the repair reaches heights of jankiness that I wasn't even planning on reaching, so viewer discretion is advised. Alright, so I started out by taking my X-Acto knife. I know, bad start, but trust me, it gets worse. I grabbed my clippers too, and I just started going at it on the motherboard, prying, clipping, and removing all of the solder and all of the bits of the charging port that I can on the board. It was nowhere near pretty or professional, but I got it out at the end of the day, so that's gotta mean something, right? After a long and tedious process of removing the old charging port, the next step was to make the final preparations for the new charging port. This part, removing the old solder, went by a lot quicker than removing the charging port itself. Now to finally solder the new charging port onto the motherboard. Alright, looks good. Seeing that the reassembly is the same thing as a disassembly, but in reverse, I'm just gonna save the trouble and just cut to what happened after. Alright, gonna test the janky 3DS repair now. Battery. Okay. I see blue light. The top screen is black on the DS. I need to reconnect the ribbon cable. Okay, but the moment of truth really is, does it charge? All right, let's see. Plugging it in. Nope, that's up. Nope, that is. Oh, dude, you gotta be kidding me. Still nothing. How is that even possible? Shoot. Alright, back to the drawing board. I did some research and reflowed the solder on the charging port, crossed my fingers, and I'll admit, I have no idea what I did. Okay, wait. I just had it. I swear. Oh! I don't usually say stuff like this, but this deserves a jankiness for the win. I'm gonna put this back together and then I'm gonna test it again. I'm gonna fix the top screen issue. Okay, awesome, alright. And just like that, after a lot of soldering work, this 3DS repair is finally... Alright, remember how I said that, okay, let me fix the screen issue and then I'll put it back together. Alright, so what happened was, it's morning, I just woke up, and the thing is still not put together. There's 2 ribbon cables at the bottom and 1 at the top corner here, and that's for the upper display. At least what I knew most of the time. You're supposed to connect those ribbon cables exactly, or else, it's just not going to work or turn on. In my past experience, I had problems with DSs not turning on or working at all because the ribbon cables weren't connected properly, of course. I connect the ribbon cables, and all I saw was a black screen that you saw before. I still saw the black screen. I'm just up all night, just disconnecting, reconnecting, rubbing it with rubbing alcohol. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh my god, did I ruin the ribbon cable while trying to repair it? As a last resort, I turned to the internet, I posted my situation on Reddit, and then I just went to sleep. So I checked this morning, and I'm reading the comments. 2 people commented, thank you, Neotil1 and Zazueta90 for commenting last night. And Neotil suggested that the motherboard might have been toast, but that's just because the picture that I posted was pretty bad. However, Zazueta90 suggested that I may have connected the ribbon cable backwards. And then I'm thinking to myself, alright, I don't have much to lose. I probably fried the screen at this point, so let me just flip the ribbon cable and see what happens. So I do that, and it goes in pretty okay. So I'm like, alright, let me give this thing a quick little test, see if that actually worked. There you go. Still need, of course, still acting a little wonky because it's still disconnected and in pieces. But the fact that it's on again, oh my god, I should have posted the situation sooner. Zazuenda90, if you're watching this, thank you. Right, let's put it back together. Alright, after some soldering and a lot of troubleshooting, I now finally have a new 3DS XL that's charging with a nice solid charge light. So now I guess I could finally say that this new 3DS XL repair is finally... Okay, we have another problem. How do I explain this? The original plan was to have the data from this one go into the data from this one. And everything was fine, it was charging fine. There's batteries in them, the batteries die. I put these to charge because the batteries are low, both of them. This one was low on battery and so is this. And I put them to charge. I go out, I run some errands, and then I come back to this. So because of that, there's no power going to this, at all. I let it sit for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, nothing. I took it to a repair shop. Whenever there's something that I can't fix, I take it to them and they can typically get it fixed. What he told me was, believe it or not, the charging port, that was fine. But everything else though, from the charging port all the way to the actual battery, the battery wasn't getting any of it. It's like the electricity stopped at the charging port, would not go to the battery. The conclusion that he gave me was it was probably one of the chips must have shortened out. I have no idea how that happened. He has no idea how that happened. As far as I'm concerned, the board is dead and I can't repair it. He can't repair it because he doesn't have the right schematics. I can't repair it because I don't know micro soldering yet. So I just bit the bullet and I got a new motherboard. I'm going to throw it in here, but this video was supposed to go out in March before the move, but as you could see, that didn't happen at all. Anyway, the motherboard's finally here. I'm not sure how well this is going to be because this definitely looks aftermarket, but I'll throw it in there. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, and you know what's the saddest thing? I lost a stylus. I kept looking up how I could fix this online without buying a new motherboard. They kept saying to reseat the battery, and I probably cleaned the battery contacts with isopropyl alcohol so many times, and not once did it respond like how it was supposed to. So yeah, after all that, that's when I threw in the towel and brought it to the repair shop. I mean, yeah, it sucks that they couldn't fix it, but what can you do? At the end of the day, even when you break things while you're trying to fix them, it's important to take what you did, figure out where you went wrong, and improve. I can't tell you how many things that I've broken in the past. I guess including this. Before I was able to fix things confidently. Alright, we're almost done wrapping up. Unwrapping? Wrapping up? Unwrapping? Which one is it? I forgot how many ribbon cables there is in this thing. I'm impressed by how many times I took this stupid thing apart, put it back together. Not once did I was gonna say not once did I rip a ribbon cable, but let me not jinx myself. This thing has already caused me so much trouble. I'm looking at the old motherboard, and compared to the new motherboard, it is different in so many ways. I highly, highly doubt it was made by Nintendo. This is definitely aftermarket, that's for sure. So that makes me wonder, like, how will games perform? Will they crash? And if I choose to mod this thing in the future, then how will that go? But right now, I'm just happy to get a working 3DS XL, new 3DS XL. One victory at a time, one victory at a time. So that's that. Oh God. If this doesn't work, I have no idea what I'd do. All right, first test, plugging in. Of course, I have the charge posted down, right? Okay, solid light. That's good. Whew. Yeah, let me just finish this thing. So, the original problem, blinking charge lights. Plug it in. That's not blinking anymore, so that's good. Here we go. Oh, it's turning on. It's taking a while. Alright, that's scaring me. No sound. Nothing. Luckily, to fix this, I didn't have to buy a new part. I just had to reseat the ribbon cable on the motherboard, and I was pretty shocked to find out that was all there was to it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. After that, it's been working ever since. More or less. After a while, it just turned off on me randomly, so I just... After that, it's been working ever since. So, it's been a long one, but before I end it off here, some takeaways. 1, don't get too excited and think before you break something. I was too excited fixing this 3DS, I'll admit. And because of that excitement, I ended up shorting something on the motherboard, so I ended up breaking it and having to fix it even more, even though that wasn't my first intention. But that goes to my second point. Don't be afraid to break something. Things happen. Like I said earlier, I broke so many things in the past. And that's kind of what happens when you learn to fix things. Not everything that you try to fix will work out straight up. Sometimes you might run into problems along the way. But that's just with anything. The point is, don't be afraid that you'll break something. Even if you do, just keep going at it. Last but not least, 3. Was this a successful repair? On the 3DS motherboard? Absolutely not. But the petroleum jelly worked though, that's the interesting part. So if you don't have flux, try giving petroleum jelly a shot. Your results may vary. On the 3DS itself though, the motherboard is definitely aftermarket and I have no idea if it's going to cause me more trouble in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But right now, I am playing through Persona Q, Phoenix Wright, all that. And if it can do that, it's good enough for me. So with that being said, the 3DS repair, or this video at least, is finally over. If you watched this whole thing, thank you so much. If you didn't, thanks for clicking on anyway. I definitely hope you learned something through my mistakes. If you liked, didn't like, and want to know when the next video is out, well, you know what to do. Until then, I'll see you when I see you.